teaching assignment in Carroll County? Where were you?
Well, my first teaching assignment was on outside of Mount Airy. I think it's a drugstore now, a one-room school. And I taught there for 1 year.
How many grades?
Huh?
How many grades?
7. It was a one-room school. I only taught there for 1 year. Then I was transferred to New Windsor, which was still a one-room school, but a larger one. And then I got married and left here and went back to Philadelphia. When I came back to teaching in Maryland, I taught in Frederick County until I retired.
Did you start out here in this area in White?
Yeah, if you walked out of this building and walked down the road to the corner, there's a little, I think it's a house there now, was a one-room schoolhouse. And that's where I went to school, I guess from the 2nd grade through the 7th, because the first part was off of Old Brick Road, right up above where I lived for a year. But that's where right down the road, half of a hollering distance from here, right down to the corner, is where there was a lodge that had 2 stories. The lodge used the 2nd story for their meeting and whatnot. And the Board of Education needed another place to move the school that I was in, which was up Old Brick Road. And this lodge had the place that's down there right now, that's a house, 2-story house. The Board of Education rented that for a one-room school for White Rock School. Upstairs, the lodge had their meetings, but they owned that building right down as you go down the hill here from the school on the left-hand side. And that's where I went to finish this through the 7th grade.
Where did you go to high school, and how did you prepare to be a teacher?
Well, my mother, who died when I was about 4th grade, her brother-in-law had gone to school, high school, at Storer College in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. So she had decided that this was full integration, you realize, because all of us who were black children had to walk to school. White children rode school bus. And my mother didn't like that very much, and she decided that I would go to a boarding school for high school rather than ride a school bus and walk to catch it. But she died before I got there. But my father carried it out and decided to send me to public high school. I went to Storer College in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia for my high school. And then I went to Boyer School for teacher training.
I understand you are an alumnus of Bowie and of Morgan.
Yeah, I got my master's degree from Morgan. When I finished Bowie, it was just a certificate that we got. But then after you went back to summer school and whatnot and took some courses, I got my master's degree. And that's me.
When you were a teacher, say teaching in New Windsor, what was the day like? You had 7 classes. Were you the only teacher there?
Right, only a teacher there. Well, I taught first of all a one-room school out here in Mount Airy, which is now a drugstore. That's where I taught a one-room school first. And then I was only there for a year, and they moved me to New Windsor. But it was still up the New Windsor Hill, a one-room school. And I taught there until I got married and moved.
I'm going to ask you one more question, then we'll be finished.
Okay.
Tell me about how you got credit for getting an award like the other teachers.
To do what?
How did you manage to get an award like the other teachers were getting?
Well, the supervisors or superintendents would come to visit you, and you didn't know they were coming. And they would ask to let them see your plans. I was lucky enough to have good plans. Maybe when they came, I didn't always. And I was just lucky.
Okay, but no, there's more to that story. How were you lucky enough to have those plans? Who came to visit you, and why did you have your plans already made?
Plans for what?
You had the superintendent came one time, and you already had your plans made. You got an award afterward, But you had those plans made because you had something else you were doing that weekend. I'll ask you about it another time.
Yeah, I can't even think what you're talking about.
That's good. Thank you, Aunt Margaret. All right?